Whatever it is, it's haunting that house. Touched me. It's trying to make contact.
He's having a seizure!
It's the man in my dream!
The movie begins in 2002 in Wake Forest, USA, where two sisters, Sarah and Jules, perform a ritual that causes strange things to happen in their house. Their mother hears strange noises in their room, and when she goes to check on them, she hears them screaming. She tries to open the door but is horrified to find the doorknob bending. The scene shifts to 2022, where Jules and her paranormal team are in a monk's temple in the northern region of Malaysia. A monk is tattooing a girl who is moaning in pain while Jules and his team observe and record the process. Concerned by the girl's pain, Jules asks Annie if she can ask the monk to stop. Annie speaks to the monk in a foreign language, and he pauses. In his language, the monk explains that while this may seem barbaric to Jules, if she remains silent, she might learn something about helping others instead of profiting from their misery. This upsets Jules, and she insists he stops, saying she thinks he is hurting the girl. The monk, now speaking in English, asks Jules if she sleeps better at night by ignoring what she sees. He then continues tattooing, and the girl begins to shake violently. Jules and her team are shocked, and after some time, a strange substance, resembling small pieces of nails, starts coming out of the girl's mouth. Later, Jules apologizes to the monk, and the monk explains to her that the nails contain a curse sent by the girl's former lover, but says Jules can sense that, even though she can no longer see. He tells her that there is no evil, only ignorance. Jules responds that it's easy for him to say, to which the monk replies that she has an ability but only uses it for profit. He gives her a locket, and when she asks what it is, he says, "Our sorrows and wounds are healed only when we touch them with compassion." On their way back, Maddie officially welcomes Annie to the skeleton crew and gives her a team t-shirt. Annie thanks them and asks how they decide where to go next, to which Maddie explains that since they announced their tour of Asia, viewers in the region have been writing in, requesting investigations of their homes. Most of these homes aren't genuinely haunted, so Jules uses her ability to determine which ones are or might be. While checking the emails, Jules comes across one that catches her attention and tells Maddie that they have something. Maddie reviews the email and discovers it's from Fraser's Hill in the state of Pahang. Jules plays the video attached to the email, in which Martha introduces herself and her husband, Ian. She explains that they are big fans of Skeleton Crew and urgently need their help. The crew arrives at the house, and Maddie calls Ian to inform him of their arrival. And meanwhile, Jules notices a girl watching them from a window, but she disappears the next moment. Ian welcomes them, and Jules comments on how their house is new and beautiful, noting that haunted houses are usually not so freshly built. To which Ian clarifies that the house was actually built in the 1970s. Ian then takes them to meet Martha, who shows them the paintings she has created, and Ian explains that Martha goes into a trance and paints pictures of a man she has never seen or met. Jules examines the paintings and tells Maddie that she doesn't sense anything unusual in the house or from the paintings. Hearing this, Martha says there's more if that would help. Jules asks Martha if she was watching them from an upstairs window, to which Martha replies that she wasn't, and explains that they moved in around 6 months ago. Ian mentions that the house was a steal, so they just had to buy it. Martha also shares that the previous owner was an Australian who lived here for a few months with his wife. About 2 months ago, some strange occurrences began. She would go to sleep, but every morning she would wake up in different parts of the house, and Ian adds that he'd wake up in bed covered in soil. After this, Martha shows them her torn clothes and tells them that this damage occurred after she contacted them. She believes that whatever is happening is threatening them or trying to prevent them from getting help. They then take the team to the basement, where they notice a terrible smell. Martha explains that the odor started last week, and despite their efforts to get rid of it, it has only gotten worse. Jules finds a dead mouse and shows it to the group, but Ian insists that it must be recent because they had scrubbed every inch of the floor, and it wasn't there before. Maddie says they have seen everything they need to see, And as they are moving upstairs, Jules hears a faint, disembodied voice echoing. And as she mentions it, the lights go out and the voice gets closer. The voice then turns into whispering, and Jules hears a male voice speaking in a foreign language on the radio. Jules finds the radio and picks it up, and while she is checking it, a ghost appears and grabs her neck, prompting her to run out of the house in fear. Maddie rushes to Jules and stops her from taking her medication, reminding her that she has already taken it several times. He calms her down and asks what happened down there. She tells him that she saw whatever is haunting the house, and it touched her. She explains that it's trying to make contact. Maddie suggests that this could be a good thing, but she responds that she can sense them and hear them, but they don't touch her. The team sets up the cameras in the house, and Maddie explains to Ian that these cameras record on multiple wavelengths and are thermosensitive as well. Later that night, while Ben and Wolf are monitoring the cameras, they notice Ben wake up and walk out of the room, and then they see him standing still in the garden in front of a plant. Suddenly, the cameras malfunction, and as they check the equipment, they hear Martha scream. They all rush to her room, where they are shocked to see her levitating in the air, banging her head against the wall. She pleads for help, but the force throws her to the floor, and before they can grasp what's happening, Martha yells something in a foreign language. She is then dragged away, and they all rush after her. Jules manages to grab her fingers, but Martha's fingers break, and she is pulled away into the basement. Ian wakes up and runs back, and as Jules enters the basement, the door slams shut behind her, trapping her inside. Jules finds Martha sitting on the floor, scared, and Martha asks what happened. Jules, trying to reassure her, helps Martha get up, saying everything is okay. She starts leading her toward the stairs when suddenly a ghost appears, scaring both of them badly, and only then does the door lock open automatically. The next day, they review the video footage, and Ben comments that although they've investigated haunted houses before, they've never seen anything as genuine as this. While they are watching the footage, Jules notices a ghost standing beside her, staring at her. She is horrified and visibly shaken, and when Maddie asks if she is all right, she says she can't do this and runs away. Maddie goes after her and tries to stop her, but she insists she can't continue because she's seeing the ghost everywhere, and she fears it will eventually hurt someone. Maddie suggests she try to communicate with it to find out what it wants, to which Jules responds that he has no idea what could happen if they do that. He asks her to tell him what is going to happen, and insists she can't just leave the show. Jules, feeling frustrated, accuses him of only caring about the show and then walks away. When Annie comes out, Wolf asks her where she was last night. Ben checks the footage and says she was asleep just before the possession. Annie, confused, asks what he is talking about, to which they show her the recording and ask if she slept through the whole thing. Ian comes out and says he needs to speak with Jules, but Maddie informs him that she went out for a bit. Meanwhile, Martha comes out of her room and notices a ghostly girl's reflection in a mirror. Scared, she approaches the mirror, but suddenly the ghost appears right in front of her, causing her to wake up from her sleep, screaming. Ian rushes to her and tries to calm her down, telling her it was just a dream and urging her to go back to sleep. Meanwhile, Jules visits a bar for a drink and tells the bartender she's doing an investigation at the Benchley house, to which the bartender tells her that everyone who has ever lived in that house has suddenly moved out. Maddie and Annie set out to look for Jules, and Annie comments that he must love Jules a lot, to which Maddie responds that he and Jules are just two people who happen to need each other at the right moment, and that moment got picked up and renewed for a second season. Jules asks the bartender what he knows about the house, to which he tells her that it was built by a local businessman as a holiday retreat. But one day he just disappeared, and since then the house has been passing from owner to owner. She asks if he knows anything about the last owners, to which he says it was an Australian couple, and rumor has it that the wife suffered a mysterious and terrible injury, causing them to move out after just a few months. He adds that something terrible has happened to all the owners' wives. He tells her that maybe if she goes back to the house, she will be able to see the truth, and warns her that her friends are in grave danger if she doesn't. Suddenly, Jules realizes that the bar is a ruin, and the bar owner comes over, asking what she is doing there, Jules notices a photo of the bartender and asks who it is, to which the bar owner explains that he used to own the place, but died years ago from sorrow after his pregnant wife disappeared. Meanwhile, while Ben and Wolf are checking the recordings, they hear the sound of a crying baby in the video. Ben tries to isolate the sound, and just then, the camera in the upper bedroom malfunctions. Ben goes to fix the camera, and we see a ghostly figure pass by. He is shocked to find the camera is broken and hears the baby crying from behind a wall. Perplexed, he breaks through the wall with an axe and discovers a hidden part of the house. He enters a bathroom there, only to be attacked by a ghost. Jules returns and notices someone watching her from the window. And meanwhile, Wolf rushes to find Ben, hearing his screams. And when Jules arrives, they are shocked to see Ben shaking violently. Martha and Ian also arrive, and Martha identifies Ben as the man from her dreams. Suddenly, Ben levitates in the air, shocking everyone. He turns towards Jules and growls, causing Martha to become terrified. Ben then accuses Jules, saying they know she killed her sister and that she suffers greatly. Martha continues to pray, and Ben utters something in a foreign language before collapsing. Later, Wolf confronts Jules, asking why she didn't help his brother. She explains that Ben was possessed, to which Wolf counters, saying that whoever possessed Ben seems to know a lot about her. He asks if she doesn't want to stop it or if she's scared because it knows about her. He then bluntly asks if she killed her sister, which makes Jules furious, but Wolf overpowers her and demands that she help his brother. Jules steps outside to take her pill but accidentally drops the bottle. When she bends down to pick it up, she notices Maddie and Annie kissing. Maddie sees that Jules has spotted them, and he rushes over to explain, saying she kissed him, and he kissed her back. Maddie adds, when you don't take care of something, it dies. No matter what he does and how hard he tries, he is not good enough for her. He says he can't understand what's going on with her because she won't let him in. Jules, feeling hurt, says she was trying to protect him and then leaves. Later, Martha approaches Jules, who shares her past that when she was a kid, she used to see them, talk to them, and call them, and they would come, but no one believed her, except her sister Sarah. One day, they called up the soul of a boy who had died. Sarah had a crush on him for the longest time, but when he came, he didn't want to leave. He was angry and he ate Sarah's soul, making her watch. Ever since that day, she swore she'd never contact another spirit. She tried shutting it out altogether, tried everything, and then one day, it just stopped. Martha says she has seen on TV that she can sense them, to which Jules responds, that part never goes away. But the point is that she stopped contacting them, and they stopped talking to her, and she can't go through that again, so she can't help her. Martha pleads, at least help my baby, and reveals that the doctor confirmed her pregnancy. Jules asks how far along she is, and Martha tells her she's 3 months pregnant and that Ian doesn't know. She made the doctor swear not to tell him because Ian doesn't want kids, and despite everything that's happened, the baby is still alive. Later, Annie examines the symbols and says they resemble good luck charms, like the ones the monk made in the temple. Wolf comments that he thought those charms were for protection. Jules enters the secret room of the house, and Wolf tells her that Ben picked up the sound of a crying kid before he went up there. Jules finds a lot of toys in there and comments maybe there was more than one child. She then opens a drawer and finds numerous packets of uneaten candy inside, dated 1972, and Ian remarks that the house was built in 1970. She opens another drawer, which is also filled with candy packets. Wolf asks if she's picking up anything, but she says she isn't. Suddenly, the lights go out and she is dragged away, causing Martha to panic. As they try to contact Jules, someone pulls Martha away as well. It turns out that Ben has pulled Martha and dragged her to the bedroom, where he attacks her with a cross, yelling, "Why can't she be quiet?" Ian rushes to find Martha, while the others look for Jules. And as Ian finds Martha, he gets pulled out of the room. Jules wakes up, terrified to find her hands nailed to a wall. She calls out for Maddie, who desperately tries to break open the door. But meanwhile, the door to Martha's room suddenly opens, and when they rush inside, they find her unconscious on the floor. Jules manages to free herself from the wall, and meanwhile, Wolf finds Ben, but suddenly, Ben attacks him. Hearing Wolf's screams, Maddie rushes to help, only to find Wolf sitting in a chair, terrified. Maddie approaches him and asks where Ben is, but to his shock, he notices Wolf's teeth on a plate. Maddie asks, "What happened?" To which Wolf replies, "Ben made him suck the crucifix." Suddenly, Ben appears and violently throws Maddie against a wall, causing him to faint. Ben then jumps on Annie. Jules demands that he leave Annie alone, but Ben snarls, "I'll rip her soul," and as Jules attempts to attack him, he throws her aside. Ben then rips Annie's top, claiming, "This is my home." However, he becomes terrified upon seeing the tattoo on her back, and as he touches it, he is thrown back with force, causing him to lose consciousness. After this, they tie Ben to a chair, and Annie tells Jules that in her hometown, those tattoos were a custom for protection, and everyone had one. When it was her turn, she begged a monk to let her go because it hurt so much, and she fainted more than once. She was only 9 and never believed it worked until now. Jules says that's why she slept through the first night, because they can't touch her. Maddie asks Jules, "What's next?" To which she says, "Go get the car keys because he and Annie are going to find her back up." That evening, Maddie and Annie return with the monk, who sees Jules and remarks that she has chosen compassion, to which she replies that she had to because her abilities returned. The monk says he gave them back to her and points to her locket. That night, they perform an exorcism on Ben, and the monk instructs them not to let go of the string. The monk begins chanting in a foreign language, and Jules commands the entity to show itself. After a while, suddenly, the wind starts to blow, and Ben begins to shake violently. He then growls and levitates in the air, causing everyone to become a bit frightened. Ben starts laughing, and Jules tells everyone not to look at him. Ben then asks Wolf if he remembers last night, and Jules tells Wolf that he is not his brother. Ben accuses Wolf of knowing about their mother's actions and just standing by and watching. He asks Wolf if he enjoyed watching their mother do all those filthy things to him. Ben then asks Ian if he knows what he did to his wife last night. He turns to Jules and says, "I'm here. Do you want to talk?" He mentions that there was no one else in the house, but just then, Martha becomes possessed and tries to attack Ben, and Wolf notices a group of spirits behind Martha. The monk senses the anger from the spirit within her, and Jules explains that the spirits inside Martha are trying to escape the spirits within Ben. Wolf asks, "Who is inside Ben?" And the spirits respond, "The one who killed them." Ben roars and Martha screams in response. And after a while, Martha collapses. Ian tries to calm Martha down and bring her to her senses, but she gets dragged into the basement. They all rush after her and find her scratching a wall with her nails, and Jules warns Ian not to touch her. The spirit asks, "Why won't she see?" and then bangs Martha's head on the wall. Ian and Maddie restrain her and make her lie on the floor, and Ian pleads with Jules to help her. The spirit screams, "Why won't she see?" Jules examines the wall Martha was scratching and tells them something is behind it. They break through the wall and discover another room behind it, and as they inspect the area, they find a projector. When Maddie plays the video, it shows an old man ripping open the stomach of a pregnant woman, pulling out her fetus and storing it among many others. They are all shocked by the gruesome sight, and Jules notices that the fetuses are no longer in the room. A stunned Maddie asks, "What was that?" To which the monk explains that it is Kuman Thong, the spirit of dead children taken from their mothers before birth to protect and empower their master. And in Martha are the spirits of dead women whose children were stolen. Jules asks if the master is inside Ben, to which the monk replies that the Kuman Thong protect their master and his house, even after the master is long gone. Jules says this is why she couldn't sense anything, because they were protecting him. The monk adds that the master is now seeking a new victim, a new child, to join his ranks. Ian says, none of this makes sense, as Martha isn't pregnant, but then he realizes that she actually is pregnant. Jules then breaks through the wall where Martha had been banging her head earlier, and as she does, the spirit of the master tries to stop her. However, behind the wall, Jules discovers the fetuses that had been stored there. She and Maddie then go out and they start digging at the spot where Ian used to reach while sleepwalking. And while they are doing this, Wolf sees the spirits of those women standing behind them. After a while, they find a skull there, and as they take it out, Master's spirit gets furious. They bring the skull inside, and Jules asks the Master if he killed those women to steal their babies, to which the Master responds by saying that she doesn't know who she's messing with. The monk continues the ritual, stating that the cumin thongs have been buried together with their mothers, so now they can finish what they started. He begins chanting mantras, causing Ben and Martha to scream in pain. After a while, Martha falls unconscious, and the monk tells Ian that she is free now. Ian rushes to her, trying to bring her to her senses, and meanwhile, Wolf rushes to Ben, who has also regained consciousness. Maddie and Wolf freeze Ben, but suddenly, he grabs them by the neck. He then throws them aside and lunges at the monk. And during the chaos, Jules draws a pentagram on the floor, a symbol she used to draw in her childhood. She then challenges the Master's spirit, asking if he wants her. As he charges at her, she grabs his neck, which prompts him to strangle her as well. However, after a struggle, Jules manages to trap the Master's spirit inside her, and seeing this, the monk continues chanting the mantras. The Master's spirit struggles intensely to escape the pentagram, but Jules fights to keep him contained, and meanwhile, the monk succeeds in expelling the Master's spirit from her body. The next day, Martha thanks them for everything, and Ian says they will name their child Jules if it's a girl. Before they leave, Maddie asks Jules where the monk is. Jules goes to get him, but is shocked when the monk accuses her of killing her sister. And in a flashback, it's revealed that Jules was possessed that day and killed her sister. The monk says it has happened again, and now she has killed everyone. He then begins eating a fetus, and it is revealed that while she was possessed, Jules killed everyone present except Annie, due to her tattoo. The Master's spirit appears, and Martha is shown nailed to a wall with her stomach ripped open. The Master confronts Jules, saying they are going to have so much fun together. He then reveals his demonic face, and the movie ends. Thanks for facing the frights with us. If you survived this video, drop a like, summon that subscribe button, and brace yourself for more horror. Until next time, stay spooked.